in the new left, post-Frankfurt school, this dichotomy is blurred. Noam Chomsky presents himself as an activist. Ilan Pape, for instance, he is an activist. All these academic activists are committed to social change, so they compromise on the truth, and we end up with a collective masturbation. Now, masturbation is really something that you should do alone.
You try to tell that in Parliament.
You're right. You're right, and this is why we have the society really politics is really drifted away. Yeah, a lot of wankers. I'm also a wanker. I'm the one who cares. Anyway, any more questions?
Can you elaborate on?
Can you come closer so we can hear you?
Can you elaborate on what you just said about how the truth is sort of sacrificed? And you used Noam Chomsky as your example. Like, where is he, steering us away from?
Okay, Noam Chomsky is not really a bad guy. He's just extremely boring. He's not a really bad guy. He's not one of those gatekeepers. Even when he tried to subvert what I regard as the truth, he did it in the open. So, for instance, when Walt and Mearsheimer came up with this very important book about the Israeli lobby, even they were afraid to say the Jewish lobby, but it's called the Israeli lobby. Chomsky was amongst the first to criticize them and to subvert the truth, but he did it in the open. And the problem that I have with him, or with Butler, or it's quite. The thing is that if you try to name some intellectuals, we cannot even name English or American intellectuals anymore because we don't. We don't have spiritual. We don't have Heideggers and Schopenhauers and Nietzsche's and Kant's. I mean Kant, the philosopher. And it's because they are not excited about this true notion of aletheia, the truth. Now, the German intellectuals in the beginning of the 20th century realized that there is a clear and very crucial distinction between Athens and Jerusalem. Athens was about truth, about ethics, about tolerance, many gods, and many shades. And love was free for real. Not because I have to identify as a gay if I want to be with a boy. I don't. I could just love a boy because that's what I feel today. This was Athens. Jerusalem, they realized is the opposite. One God, yes and no binary opposition. No tolerance. If you don't believe in God, we kill you. We slay your throat. No ethics. In Jerusalem, there is no... Sorry, I just hit the microphone. In Jerusalem, was it loud on the mic? All right. Sorry. In Jerusalem, there is no ethics. Have you ever thought about it? The 10 Commandments. This is the opposite of ethical thinking. Don't kill, Don't drink. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Laws, 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 laws. This is not ethics. These are laws. Ethical people don't need laws. You know that it's not nice to kill. Chomsky, Butler, identity politics. This is Jerusalem. Many, many Jerusalems. Jerusalem of the black, Jerusalem of the gay, Jerusalem of the Jew. Even the Jews have Jerusalem. Jerusalem of the Zionists, Jerusalem of the anti-Zionists. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. And we have collective ideological discourses that do not allow us to move. I started this talk talking about Trevor. Trevor stood up and said, Hitler was very popular in Germany. Should we call him a dictator? Now, this is a legitimate question. Instead of addressing this question, they invested this guy, what is his name, Greg Berlin, from this town, runs a campaign to destroy him, putting pressure on his family, on his girlfriend, on her family, on all his friends, on musicians. This is Jerusalem. Spinoza went through it. It's called Cherem. Daniel da Costa went through it. Jesus Christ, do you remember there was a guy? He went through it. They nailed him to the wood. I don't care about the question, who killed Christ? But I'm pissed off with people who kill Christ around us, within us. And this Craig Berlin is a Christ killer. Because he tries to murder this beautiful soul. And he doesn't even understand it. And more than anything else, he brings a disaster on himself. Because he's doing it as a Jew. So he's a Jew Christ killer. And this is a disaster. And I don't know, Trevor, that for that long, but I'm sure that you will find forgiveness in you. But this exact forgiveness is the thing that this Craig Berlin cannot find in himself. And this is the difference between Trevor from Athens and Craig Berlin from Jerusalem, who apparently lives in Austin.
Athens, Texas?
Sorry?
Athens, Texas?
Athens, Texas, yeah. Sorry? I know. And yeah, I remember. And there was yeah. Any more questions? Yeah.
This might be a loaded question. I talked to you earlier about the Holocaust and the role of different Zionists in that. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, you were referring to this Barry Haimish.
So since you had a man who's like a sort of Svengali, are you talking about the man who?
No, the gentleman here was referring to this. He's an ultra-Zionist guy. He's a settler, I think. And he actually argues that the Holocaust was partially the Zionist left was complicit or is complicit in the Holocaust. Yeah, and to a certain extent he is correct. This is something that you have to accept when it comes to Zionism, and maybe when it comes to political discourse in general. It is not nice to admit, but right-wing people libertarians have this unique tendency to tell the truth, while the progressive or the left would agree to lie in the name of the cause. This is what it is. They have a reason. I don't buy this reason. We watched today a video, a very devastating video by a Jewish racist, right-wing, probably the most hated Jew in the 20th century, Rabbi Meir Kahane. Yeah, I didn't have the guts to watch Meir Kahane until recently, because a friend of mine, a professor of Jewish studies, told me, Gilad, if you want to understand where Israel is now, start to dig in Kahane in the 80s. And Trevor, it was just the two of us, no? Yeah, Trevor and myself watched it. I want to publish it, to republish this segment, and he was telling, he was coming with a chain of anecdotes, and they were all truthful to the bone. And eventually he ended it, and I agreed with everything he said. And eventually he said, I'll give you some examples. He said, there is a clear dichotomy between the Jewish culture, Jewish people, and democracy. He actually says Israel can call itself democracy, it can never be democracy. You're either a Jewish state or democracy. Is he right? Yes. He says there in the 80s, I understand that Arabs cannot live in Israel as long as it is the Jewish state. I understand them, he said. And then he drew a conclusion that is very frightening. But this is exactly where the Israeli society is. He said, in the end of the video, he said, when I'm the prime minister of Israel, Arab won't be killed because there won't be Arabs. We will kick them out. Okay? This is where Lieberman is. This is where Bennett is. This is where Israeli right-wing. Israelis want the Palestinian gone. So this right-wing, let's say Nazi, which I don't like, I don't like because it's kind of, it doesn't give good name to Nazis. This Judeo-Nazi, as Yeshayahu Leibovich, a great Israeli professor, used to refer to him, this Judeo-Nazi actually understood the true spirit of his people. He didn't lie. He wasn't like Shimon Peres, or Rabin, or Barak, or Tzipi Livni. By the way, Benjamin Netanyahu, we don't like him, but he tells the truth. How embarrassing it is. Any more questions? Yeah.
We really want to call the Israeli right wing the right wing when it seems that about 92% of Israelis want all of Palestine gone. I mean, Palestinians gone.
What percentage of the? 92%. Yeah, so I had 2%. I was. I don't like. I think that you're right. You're so right. Because we have this myth that Israel is a Western democratic state, we like to think that we have a discourse, a dichotomy between right and left. Nonsense. By the way, this was the dream. The Zionist dream, let me shock you.